Welcome, my name is Jim DeLappa, and I'm with GreatBusinessPlans.com. The video that you're watching today is part one or segment one from our program, Prepare to Take the Plunge, 6 Easy Strategies New Business Owners Must Follow to Succeed. We've taken this seminar and broken it up into bite-sized pieces for the web, so you can watch these videos in very short periods of time, come back at your leisure, and go through the program at your own pace. So let's jump right in with Strategy 1. Strategy 1 is all about assessing your readiness. Now, this is the easiest strategy to overlook, and many people prefer to just get on with it and start their business without ever addressing the issue. Then later, they find themselves in trouble. Well, we're going to help you avoid making that mistake by giving you some ways to take a look at where you stand now and assess your readiness for starting a business. So we're going to take a look at 3 different areas: your motivation for starting a business, your perspective, which is made up of your critical knowledge and personal traits, and then finally, in the third video segment, we'll help you take a look at your expectations about business ownership and compare that with what other entrepreneurs who are already in the game find to be true. And in each one of these segments, we'll talk a little bit about what we see, what you should do about it, and some ways that you can get yourself more prepared if that's your situation. Now, why do we want to do this? By taking an honest look at where you are today, several things are going to happen all to your benefit. The first thing is, we all know that we need to look ourselves in the mirror and really size ourselves up in order to be fully ready for anything that we do. So in doing this, you're going to shed the insecurity that comes from avoiding the issue. And next, once we know what we're strong at and which areas we have to improve in, we're going to be able to easily identify some ways to pick up our game a little bit in the areas where we need to do that. And so therefore, you're going to increase your competence, your readiness to start in your own business, and making sure you have the skills or you've surrounded yourself with the right people where you have everything you need to start your business. Now, when you do all 3 things here, the magic really happens in number 4. You're going to increase your confidence. When you know you've properly prepared, you've taken a look at yourself, you're doing some things to address the areas where you need to make some improvements, you're really going to gain some confidence. And as everybody knows, that's a really important factor in running your own business. Let's start with your motivation for starting a business, why you want to start a business. What's making you think that that's something you want to do? What I'd like to do, as I'm going to do in each of these first 3 video segments, is I want to give you a list of statements and ask you to think about which of them describes your motivation, in this case, for starting a business. Now, with all of these, don't try to think about what the right answer might be for someone who's starting a business, or you just won't get as much out of this as you otherwise could have. Just think about which of these really resonates with you, and then mark down the numbers. There's 5 in this group. Mark down the numbers of those that you can really identify with. And of course, you can have more than one. So the first one is this: I've been having a hard time finding a job, so I'm thinking about starting a business. Is that you? If that is, go ahead and just mark down number 1. Next, I really don't like my boss. In fact, I don't like having a boss, period. So I want to start my own business. If this is what's motivating you to start your business, mark down number 2. Number 3 is, I want to make a lot of money, more than I could make working for someone else. Again, mark down number 3 if this is what's motivating you to start your business. And then number 4. I see a lot of other people running their own businesses, and I'm smart like they are. I'm not afraid of hard work, so I know I can do it too. If this is something that sounds like you, mark down number 4. And then our last one is number 5. Number 5 is, I've always wanted to start a business. It's something inside me that just won't go away. It's a passion, almost an obsession. If this describes your mindset, mark down number 5. Okay, so we've listed 5 statements, all that speak to inner drive or the motivation, the reasons behind why someone might want to start a business. At this point, hopefully you've made note of which of these applies to you. Let's talk about each of them. Number 1, having a hard time finding a job. This is very common in a tough economy and during any downturn. In fact, many people start businesses after being laid off or let go from a position they really weren't that enamored with anyway. But among successful entrepreneurs we deal with, we find that this speaks more to the timing of starting a business and not the reason for starting it. So if this was on your list or high on your list, make sure that in addition to this being an appropriate time for you to start a business, you're fully prepared and you have other motivations for wanting to start a business. And number 2, don't like my boss or having a boss. Be a little careful with this one, especially if it was high on your list or your only answer. This is an example of moving away from something instead of a desire to be doing something. And business owners will tell you this is really a misconception anyway. The reality is that there are always people to report to, even as the business owner. There's the landlord, the customers, suppliers, even your own employees. You're going to feel like you're reporting to them at times. Number 3 was I want to make a lot of money, more than I could working for someone else. And while it's true that small business owners, successful small business owners, can be very highly paid or high net worth individuals, they typically had to work for many years to get to that position. So it's a good reason to start a business. It's often true, but you should really set your expectations appropriately, recognizing that maybe in the first couple of years you might actually make less money than you're able to make in your regular job. So again, really assess that one carefully and ask yourself how you'd feel if it takes you a few years to really get to that goal. Number 4, I see a lot of people running their own businesses, and I can do it too. Now, this is an interesting one. People who say this are really already starting to see themselves as business owners on the inside. And that's a powerful part of inner drive, how you see yourself. So here, we're really getting closer to the inner drive of most successful entrepreneurs. So this is one we really like to see. And if you feel strongly about this, then that's something that's very powerful and the right mindset. But number 5, this is the response I really like to see entrepreneurs have. This is something that is very, very powerful in terms of helping you with the day-to-day job of running your business. I've always wanted to start a business. It's something inside me that just won't go away, a passionate obsession. This is really at the core of the inner drive of successful business owner. And we'll talk a little bit about why that's so important. I believe you can prepare yourself for all of the other things you need to have. You can learn them, you can gain more experience over time, you can improve in all the other areas. But this inner drive that is described by this statement, it's really something you want to have inside you because challenges are going to come up and they'll try to temper your enthusiasm. But if you have this kind of attitude, you won't let self-doubt set in. You'll be motivated to push through. Inner drive can really make you unstoppable. Because individuals who start a business and have that kind of inner drive, as I said, they can push through the difficult times. And again, I believe if you have that inner drive, nothing can stop you and you will find a way to succeed because for people who have this attitude, the journey is part of the reward. So think about your own answers and what we just discussed as you assess your own inner drive, and then we'll move on to segment 2. Thank you.